Hello, I'm Mary Porter and I work for the Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust, which stretches all the way from the Humber right down to the Wash. This is our garden at home. It's actually turned out to be a wildlife haven. What I'd like you to do now is actually have a little look round if you like, and it's not really pristine and pretty, but you can have a wildlife haven in a neat and tidy garden. Hopefully some of the things I can show you will give you a few little hints as to what you can do to help encourage wildlife into your garden, whether it's very small or a bit bigger. So come on round and see what you can find. Well, first of all, we've got a pond. It's looking a bit drab at the moment because we're just coming out of the winter. Lots of wildlife actually comes to a garden pond to drink, all your birds, and I've actually been watching a blackbird at the end there getting those old dead leaves out and lining her nest with it. It's been really fun to watch. So if you can have room for a pond, that's great, but please do try and have sloping sides. So we've made a little sloping side in this one so wildlife can get in and out. If you haven't got room for a pond, have this, just a little dish, because what the birds can do then, it's shallow enough to have a little bath and have a little drink. They won't fall in and drown, and you can keep it clean, but please try and change the water every day because they poo in it as well. They sort of bath and stuff. It's not very nice. Off we go. So you can get lots of little garden birds coming quite easily, especially if you've been putting food out in the winter, because they'll come because they're desperately hungry. But it's not very fair really to just leave it at that, because birds will need somewhere to nest and they'll need something to eat during the spring and the summer and autumn. So we need to encourage some insects as well. Insects are very, very important in the garden. So learn to love your bugs because they are part of the food chain, and hopefully some of the things we'll see will help get more bugs into your garden too. Let's have a little look, see if we can find any mini beasts. Now your garden doesn't have to be a wreck like ours in order to encourage mini beasts, and you can have just a log or bricks or something somewhere, just where something will hide, and hopefully underneath here, yes, there is a little ground beetle. Now don't worry if you don't like creepy crawlies, they are actually extremely helpful. I'll put him back, sorry ground beetle, go back in there. You're just being a hero, you are. Go back there and I'll carefully put your brick down. Ground beetles eat snails, actually there's a snail shell here. So they are a natural predator in the garden. So don't just squash things just because they move. Learn to know what your bugs are. Ground beetles eat your slugs for you. You don't need to buy slug pellets. Slug pellets actually kill slugs and song thrushes and hedgehogs. So try and keep off the slug pellets, try and encourage their natural predators, and all you need is just a little shelter for them. Have a compost heap if you can. It's really a godsend because you produce masses and masses of compost. You don't have to buy bags of compost. And when we were sifting it out the other day, we got some lovely stuff. And inside here were lots of little bugs and centipedes and wood lice and spiders. It's good all round, this recycling, and it's good for wildlife. Not just little wildlife either, because when we were turning it over, we found these. Now they've gone a little bit manky and papery now, but they were soft and leathery when we got them out. They are grass snake eggs. So we've actually got grass snakes in our garden. We've seen the odd one. I didn't know we'd had babies. I'm really, really proud of our compost heap. So your compost heap, it produces you compost, but it provides this huge home for wildlife as well. I shall keep an eye on this next summer so that I can actually see whether we can actually get our own babies sort of to see around the garden. I'll put the lid back on. One of the nice things you can do for wildlife, if you've got just a little bit of space, if you haven't got room for a whole meadow, is just to leave some rough grass, because the grass around the bottom of a tree is another habitat. And we've had the most fantastic little groups of ladybirds at the bottoms of trees, hibernating over the winter, but we've also had the hedgehog. And and the hedgehog comes out from underneath there, and he's been nesting underneath a hedge. Hedgehog means hedge pig. They do nest under hedges. You can make hedgehog boxes, but we don't need to do that because we've got the natural undergrowth here, and he will make his little nest in there somewhere. We haven't got room for that. See whether you can pile up some sticks, litter, not litter, leaf litter, like natural stuff, and see whether you can make a little habitat underneath a hedge. This is our little, I suppose you'd call it little bird restaurant here, because we've got the hanging bird feeders, and it is very important to keep your nuts in a mesh because birds mustn't eat the whole nut. We've got that. We've got Niger seed, which is like a little thistle really. Goldfinches love that. So have a look at your garden and see whether you can supply water, shelter and food. Think about what you want to attract into your garden and what sort of things they want. There are lots of ideas that you can get probably from websites actually, like Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust website has fact sheets on how to make bird boxes and hedgehog boxes and things like that. Lists of plants which little insects like, that's also useful. You get those off those sorts of websites too. Just have a little look around and just look at your garden with a sort of wild eye. Where is the food? Where is the shelter? And where is the water? And you'd be amazed at how quickly things will come in, even just supplying a little bit of that.